What is up? What is going down? I am Paul Amadeus Lane. You are in the entertainment zone. HollywoodNewsSource.com, ABC News Radio, KMED. What is up? What are we going to talk about on this edition of the show? Going to be joined by one of my colleagues from Hollywood News Source to talk about the Crisis on Infinite Earth, the crossover. We're going to give our take on the series. Did you enjoy it? Man, I know I did. It was amazing just to see all the characters that has been introduced to the Arrowverse of things. Good to see Black Lightning in it and other characters as well. So we're going to get down right to the nitty gritty of what's going on with Crisis on Infinite Earth. So you can always reach out to me, PaulAmadeusLane.com. You can connect with me on social media, the Twitter, the Instagram, all the places. Hit me up. Would love to say hi. All right, without any further delay, let's bring on our very, very distinguished guest. And I'm so happy to be joined by my brother from across the pond, Darryl Lay, senior editor over at Hollywood News Source. What's going on, man? How are you?
Hey there. Yeah, it's great. It's great to be here. I'm looking forward to talking about this.
Hey, great to have you, my friend. I know you and I have been talking offline and sending messages about Crisis, and we finally are able to do our episode on Crisis. So let's get down to the nitty gritty, my friend. What is your impression of the halftime of Crisis? Because we know second half's coming up next month sometime, right? So how was the first half for you?
Yeah, I think like the middle of January. I think that the first half is probably better than all the other crossovers. I think it shows that they've learned over the years, and they've listened to what fans have said. For instance, in previous ones where certain characters haven't got enough of the time, certain lead characters haven't got enough of the time, and I think they've really looked at that and made the change. It feels great. It's tight. It works well. It pays like the proper respect to the source material, while still, managing as you can when you only have like a dozen characters to deal with. So yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah,
and I hope they can stick the landing.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was really, really refreshing the way that they did it. And we kind of got a sneak peek of what was going to happen at Comic-Con last year. There was rumors swirling around with Brandon Roth reprising his character as Superman. That was pretty cool, man. What was the biggest surprise for you in this whole crossover?
The biggest surprise had to be Lucifer popping out of nowhere after the actor vehemently denied that he was in Canada to shoot. So that just came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting that. It was a nice little tie-in. It was a lot of fun. I thought that it was short, but I think I've seen reviews and like all the Lucifer fans who also happened to watch a Arrowverse show. They went crazy because a lot of them don't know that Lucifer is based on a DC character. So,
and I thought it was pretty cool too, where we saw Tom Wellington's, I believe that's his name. My brain is
Tom Welling.
Yeah, Tom Welling, his character as Clark Kent Superman. It was good to see him and Erica Dance, who played Lois Lane in the original Smallville, but then she played Kara, Supergirl's mother in Supergirl,
yeah,
and it was good, man.
That
was pretty cool how they had that kind of cameo, man. That was pretty cool because I was a big Smallville fan back in the days.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was great. That was also another it was a big surprise, but I've been hearing about it on social media so much, so it wasn't a surprise when we actually saw him, and I think photos from the shoot had leaked, so we knew he was there, so that was pretty fun. Yeah, it was great to see him. It's surprising to see him, given that he doesn't tend to like talking much about his time on Smallville after the fact. So to see that he was, willing to come back and join the show. That was fun.
What did you think about Black Lightning being introduced into the Arrowverse with the crossover? What was your take on it?
I think it's excellent. I think I like the way that they did it. I liked the Black Lightning point five 2.5 episode of Crisis on Infinite Earths because it showed a big aspect of that sort of era of DC Comics when they were going crazy with alternative Earths. That's the whole point, is seeing one character um, in doing something slightly different, and you see what comes as a result of that. You get to see how that works. Obviously, the Monitor in episode one launched into a big thing about um, how the Earth came to be and what happened. But actually seeing it with a character that you know and like, it was interesting. So I definitely recommend people who haven't seen Black Lightning watch that episode, and I think it makes enough sense to stand on its own, and it gives you a good idea of multiple Earths.
And I was stoked of that episode of the Crisis because guy that I met a few years ago, great writer for Black Lightning, Lamont McGee. He actually wrote that episode, and to be in that Crisis writing team, man. It seemed like every writer who wrote the episodes, man, you could tell they worked together because everything fit perfectly, but it had
Yep.
its own individuality to it. And here's the thing: um, are we going to have kind of like the Avengers Endgame, where who's going to come back, who's not going to come back? With all these Earths being destroyed, do you think when Crisis 2.0 comes, when the conclusion comes, is everybody going to come back or what, man?
I wonder. I feel like most will come back, but not all, because I feel like they might get rid of, for instance, Argo and Kara's mother, just because it seems a weird thing to leave that many Kryptonians just out there, just like that. I assumed that they would combine the Earths. That would be my if it was me. That's what I would do. I would just have one Earth coming out of it. But I don't know how that would go with fans. But obviously I do think um, that obviously Carl will get her team back. I don't know further than that. I would assume she'll get her Earth back. 'Cause I don't see how she'd come back from that. It doesn't make sense to me that she could possibly come back from losing everyone. So
I was surprised to see um, how Batwoman, really, fit into the Crisis. Because remember before, when they introduced her character, before her series came out,
yeah.
when they had the kind of mini crossover and everything, but to see how everything
Hmm.
fit, her and Kara, their dynamics is going to be pretty interesting. So I'm with you. I
Hmm.
wish it goes down to one Earth, and then I want to see a lot of these characters interact with each other, and I just think it brings a new element to make it fresh. And with Arrow going away, how do you feel about? Do you think he's going to have a better send off when Crisis picks back up? Because I thought his send off was just kind of
Well,
anticlimactic.
his set he gets 2 episodes after Crisis for send off, so I think that won't be handled within Crisis. It wasn't. I think it was an interesting choice, but it definitely makes sense. That is how the character would be.
Yeah, and I,
Um,
and
that
I'm
makes it that self-sacrifice.
yeah, and I'm looking at Ruby Rose and her character. The ratings just came out here in the United States.
Okay.
Flash is still number one, but
Hmm.
Batwoman is number two. And just to see how
Ooh.
that new series just took off with the ratings, I think it's awesome. And a crossover like this can really help out. I don't want to say struggling shows of the universe, but I think it's going to help out. DC Legends of Tomorrow, your favorite show. No, I'm just joking. And and some of the other shows that they kind of need a little boost. What do you
Yeah,
think?
obviously, because yeah, it's not like it's not a show you have to watch it now. to get that first to get that next entry into the crisis. So yeah, it definitely helps. I just don't know about Legends. Um, Obviously everyone knows that I have my issues with it, but I just feel like they don't. Um, that they said it was one thing, and then they sort of changed it again, and then they changed it again, and then they changed it again. I just want them to decide what they want to do with that show and then do it.
Yeah, because I think
Because it was supposed to be a let's refresh it every season,
mhm.
and then they bring back the same character in 60 different guises. And I think, well, and then it's they make it comedy, and then they sort of move away from the time. Then they move away from the
Mhm.
time travel. They get rid of all the action. I mean, like, watch the last, I don't know, 6 episodes of Legends and tell me how many times people use their powers. It's gonna be up. It, it's not going past 10. I want even include Rory's gun in that. Nothing happens now. It's just fist fights, and it's just because if you're gonna boast and bring in look at all these superheroes and not let them be super, I don't know why the show's there.
I hear you. Good point. Good point. Now, if you can be critical about anything from Crisis, what what would you be critical of?
Hmm. Uh, I think I think certain things weren't explained well enough. Like I know, for instance, so obviously there's at the end when in at the end sorry at the end of part one in Supergirl where Oliver makes his um sacrifice and he shoots the Monitor with an arrow, which stops him from being teleported away. Now on the thing of it, godlike being disabled by an arrow that makes him sort of frizz and flash like a broken iPod. What we then understand later, if you take it at least from context, is that as the antimatter wave runs through, destroys more and more of the universe, the bond is getting weaker and weaker, which is why he could be stopped by Oliver. But simple things like that, that can be better explained.
I hear you. I hear you.
Uh, Yeah, I mean, uh, the the Lex heading off for a Superman slaughter. That it felt like a awkward way to get where they were going to me.
I definitely hear you. I definitely hear you.
I didn't I didn't really give Lex time to do more because I feel like Lex is smart enough and self-interested enough to not want to die. I'm not sure he would necessarily spend his time before the crisis was averted by killing Superman across the multiverse.
Yeah, I'm
I
gonna.
think he'd be much more. I think he'd be much more about proving himself to be useful, saving the world, and then slipping off with the book so he could wreak havoc later.
Mm,
But that's just me.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, I'm sure looking forward to part two of the Crisis uh,
Yeah.
coming out next month. So before we wrap this up, my friend, anything else about Crisis on Infinite Earth that you like to bring out?
I think in terms of the positive stuff, I think it's great to see the main duo shifting to Kara and Kate, and you can see Oliver and Barry in them. You see that um, it's always been clear. You can see from like in the early crossovers that Barry and Kara are very similar, or at least they started out very similar. Very happy, very optimistic, always wanting to help. We've seen like through Flash's various storyline that Flash gets a little bit dark. He's a little bit angrier, and he deals with a lot more loss. But they are a lot more similar, and Kate's a lot more like Oliver, very mission driven. It's all about his city. Nothing else matters, and and it's like whatever means necessary. So it's nice to see those two they do bring out the best in each other.
Indeed. 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 So, before I let you go, how can ones continue to follow some of the great writing that you do and some of your cool takes on the Twitter?
Well, you can head over to HollywoodNewsSource.com. We got this great long form interview for one of our new writers with the up and coming British director who won a award over at Fright Fest, which is a horror film festival that happens over here in the UK. So that's at HollywoodNewsSource.com. Feel free to check the site, check our YouTube where we have loads of interviews and red carpets, things like that. If you want to talk to me, you can find me on Twitter at Shaftsword, which is SHAFTSWORD. And yeah, we would love to hear from you.
Sounds good. Well, Darryl, we'll have to hook up again once the crisis continues and we have to give another take on it and see how it goes.
Definitely.
Great talking to you, my friend.
Great talking to you.
Always love chatting with my bro, Darryl Lay, across the pond there in England, Hollywood News Source. Great writer, great information. And I don't know, if you're like us, you can't wait to see how this crisis is going to end, what it's going to mean for different characters who kind of got Thanos out of existence. Oh, am I going to get in trouble for saying some Marvel stuff? And we're talking about DC comics. I hope not. But hey, we're looking forward to that. Until next time, take care, folks. Remember, you can catch up with me, PaulAmadeusLane.com. Don't forget to go to HollywoodNewsSource.com. Check out the latest and the greatest of what's going on in the entertainment world. Until next time, guys, take care. Talk to you soon.